Let's briefly review plate tectonics. The Earth is made up of 7 major tectonic plates that are always in motion. You can think of these tectonic plates as the thin layer of ice on top of your soda. The soda being the melted portion of the inside of the Earth, or the mantle where the magma lives, and the layer of ice representing the tectonic plates, or the crust. Tectonic plates are constantly traveling around on the mantle even if you can't see or feel them doing so. This is a diagram showing the layers of the Earth. We have the crust, mantle, outer core, and inner core. Tectonic plates make up the crust and move on top of the mantle due to convection currents or movement of magma within the mantle. This is an example of how convection works. On the left is an image of a pot of water on a stove with 2 floating blocks of wood. As the stove heats up the water and starts to boil, a convection current will develop, causing the blocks of wood to separate and pushing them to the edges of the pan. The image on the right shows the same scenario, only with a view into the Earth, showing convection currents in the mantle pulling 2 plates away from one another. Tectonic plates may converge, forming a convergent margin, diverge, forming a divergent margin, or slide past one another, forming a transform plate boundary. We will first look at divergent margins. This happens when tectonic plates move away or diverge from one another. When plates move away from one another, the mantle is exposed and magma will spill out onto the surface of the Earth as lava, which cools and makes new crust. Next, we will look at convergent margins. Since the Earth is a sphere, where there are tectonic plates moving away from each other in one portion of the world, there are plates crashing into one another in another part of the world. When plates of equal density crash into one another, they will buckle or fold, and this is where mountains are built. So when continental crust crashes into continental crust, or oceanic crust collides with oceanic crust, neither will give, so they just buckle and build mountains upward. However, when plates of different densities collide, the heavier plate will sink or subduct underneath the lighter plate, eventually turning the heavier plate back into magma. Oceanic crust is very dense or heavy, so it will sink underneath the lighter continental crust. As it sinks and the plate is melted, magma chambers are created, which produce volcanic mountain ranges as the buoyant magma tries to reach the surface. Finally, we will look at a transform plate boundary. Transform plate boundaries occur when 2 tectonic plates slide past one another. An example of this type of boundary is the San Andreas Fault.